Hi. I put a few shots of my allotment just to show that I haven't lost interest in it. I still go there nearly every day, and it's looking very green, very lush, and very productive. All of those potatoes you see in the clip all came from one plant, and I've got dozens. And I'm getting squash, courgettes, apples are starting to come. I've got sweet corn on the grow. It's looking very, very fertile, and that's a lovely piece of music I put on there. I know the sound quality is not that great, but I urge you to check out Segovia because he's a wonderful musician. Today I'm going to tell you some more about my time in the film industry. These are two occasions when I actually got to handle some paint. The first one, first of all, it was set in a studio or a sound stage, which is a large hangar-like building, and the set consisted in the middle of the room of a platform on which the action would take place. And three sides of this huge building were covered with stretched canvas. I believe it's called a cyc. From floor to ceiling and all the way around 3/4 of the room. And what was going to happen was that this canvas was going to be the sky. It can be painted blue with a sky on it, and the action which took place on the platform would appear to be, I don't know, maybe the top of a mountain or I don't know, a flying carpet in the air or something like that. Why don't they use a real mountain, you might ask? Well, it's very hard to get a film crew up an adjacent mountain so that they can film the action. That's one reason. Why don't they use a real sky? Well, I don't know. It depends on the film, but if, for example, you're filming a medieval battle scene, you don't want to see a jumbo jet fly across the sky on its way to the local airport. You want to be able to control the environment, and you can do that in a sound studio. Anyway, we were painting this sky, so obviously to paint clouds and stuff you need to be an artist. I mean, it's not that easy to make clouds look real, and my brother and his partner were the artists, but they had a lot of sky to cover, and you don't have to be an artist to paint something blue. So me and another guy called Steve, our job was to paint this big expanse of canvas blue, and it was like painting the side of a battleship, if you can imagine. What we used to do it, we had a spray gun which was a trigger mechanism with a sort of length of tube on it and a spray nozzle at the end, and somewhere there was an air compressor which pumped air through this thing, and it drew paint up from a dustbin. We had a dustbin full of blue paint. It drew paint up from this at a very high pressure. When you pulled the trigger, you could feel the force of the paint being chucked out the other end. Pull back, you know, you could feel the force in your hand, and it would have a range of about 10 feet or so. Of course, a lot of the paint reached the canvas, but quite a lot of the paint actually dried in the air and just fell as dust. So at the end of the day, we were covered in blue. Everything was blue. Our hair was blue. Our clothes were blue. We were blue. When I blew my nose, or blew my nose, when you blew my nose, it was blue on the handkerchief. But anyway, quite a lot of the paint reached the canvas, and eventually, after a few days, many dustbinfuls of blue paint, we painted this huge canvas blue. My brother and his friend, of course, were in charge of mixing the paint and getting the right sort of hues, because when you've got a sky, you don't want a kind of a sudden change in colour from one set of paint to another, or you don't want to see corners or creases or joins or anything like that. The sky has to be continuous to be convincing. And anyway, that's what we did. To do it, one of the things, because this is floor to ceiling canvas, the top of it was maybe 30 feet high, something like that. And in order to be able to reach it, we worked from what they called a scissor lift. And a scissor lift is like an electric vehicle, very heavy electric vehicle, because this was in the days of lead acid batteries. So this thing was powered by lead acid batteries. Very heavy vehicle, about 12 feet by 4 or 5 feet. And on top of that, there was a platform. And the platform could be lowered and raised by a sort of cantilever scissored mechanism like that, so that you could work from the platform and paint the sky at the higher levels, and you could go up and down. Of course, when you got up the higher levels, the platform sort of rocked about a bit. It had a sort of, you walked around and it kind of shifted. It was a bit like the motion of a ship in the sea. And after a couple of days of working on this scissor lift, you get sea legs, and it feels okay. And it's when you get on a firm ground, you still got the sea legs, and it feels like the firm ground is moving. And in fact, when you go to bed at night and you lie down and close your eyes, you're still rocking and swaying around in your head. Anyway, you get over that. Another occasion I remember when I actually got paint under my fingernails was when we were shooting in a soundstage. They had built a set which was a quite sumptuous interior set. I mean, I don't know what it was for. It could have been set in ancient Rome, or it could have been an advert for Barclays. I have no idea. But it was made to look like a sort of monumental stone building with a marble floor, particularly a marble floor. And the job I got involved in was helping to create this marble look-alike floor, because actually it was just an MDF floor, I think. And the way they did that was quite ingenious, really. They got a foam paint roller and pulled out little clumps of it, so that when it was used to roll paint, it printed a kind of sinuous linear pattern on the which acted as a sort of undercoat for everything else. It mimicked the veins that run through marble, in fact. And then when you've got this undercoat, you then flick droplets of paint onto it, and to do that you get a big brush, dip it in the paint, flick it, and little droplets of paint shower down onto the ground. You do that with maybe 2 or 3 different colours, principally white, a bit of black, maybe a bit of mauve or something like that. and over a period of time you build up all these dots over this sinewy undercoat, and it looks like it sparkles. It almost sparkles. It's, if you look at it closely, you'd see that it wasn't marble, of course, but from the point of view of a camera, which isn't looking at it very closely at all, it looks, well, probably more like marble than real marble. Anyway, so my wrists have never been the same since, but it was an interesting effect. At the end of the process, the finished set is filmed, and after it's filmed, it has served its purpose. And no matter how much paint and craftsmanship has gone into creating it, no matter how beautiful it is in its own right, it really serves no further purpose, and it's destroyed and thrown away, and the space is cleared to make way for the next film to be shot. It's ephemeral, it's sad, and it's wasteful, but people aren't in it for ecological reasons. They're in the film business to make money, and I was there to make the small amount I made, and other people are there to make the large amounts that they make. So anyway, I'll see you later.